Tonight, though it's September, there are still over 200 active wildfires in the province. We have a regional update on the wildfire situation. Plus, the Red Dress Society held a major event over the weekend promoting the fight against missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And this year's beneficiary has been announced for Pattison Media's Miracle on 3rd. Good evening, folks. I'm Eddie Huband, and welcome to CKPG News. We begin tonight on the wildfire front. Though it's September now, fires are still running rampant in the northern region, causing concern for the BC Wildfire Service, especially for the Ootsa Lake complex southwest of Burns Lake, where an evacuation alert was issued. Cheryl Jan has the latest, as we certainly aren't out of the woods yet with fires.
The fire season is far from over. Lightning strikes back in July caused 4 fires around Ootsa Lake, but they were manageable at the time. That changed on September 1st.
Temperatures were elevated, high 20s, relative humidity in the teens, and began to get elevated winds in the afternoon, 20 to 30 kilometers coming out of the southwest. And in the end, it did breach the existing control lines.
So within the 4 fires, they all have their own size. It's not accumulative for the complex. Our 2 priority fires that are kind of the ones that have initiated the 2 evacuation alerts within the complex are the Mount Wells wildfire, which is at approximately 14,000 hectares, as well as the Sabina Lake wildfire, which is just over 50,000 hectares.
Large volume of smoke in the area, which did quell activity on the head of the fire, but it did impact aviation activity due to visibility clearance.
A familiar fire near the community of Wells reared its head once again. The Antler Creek fire was a fire of note in July.
Crews, did their very best working on that wildfire. They did their due diligence, and as a result, we saw that wildfire and this wildfire be under control. Now, with that recent hot, dry weather, and as you mentioned, the recent windy conditions, we started to see that wildfire start to flare up a little bit late last week.
Both fires of concern began in July, which goes to show how unpredictable wildfires can be.
The wildfires are burning underground, and with winds coming through, it can move fuels around. And as a result, that's how we see wildfires start to re-flare up. And as a result, for example, for this wildfire, C11153, we've seen the wildfire start to flare up once again.
The 12 millimeters of rain that hit the region last evening did help, but
it did help significantly, like looking into today, the next 24-hour operational period. We are seeing quite a downturn in fire behavior, allowing crews to engage in more direct attack right along the fire's edge, as it's quite a lot cooler in many areas of the perimeter. However, it's not quite a season-ending amount of precipitation that we received.
While many of us think this is the end of the wildfire season, Mother Nature doesn't play by anybody's rules. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
In crime news, a month-long drug investigation has resulted in 3 people facing multiple charges. This investigation spans several municipalities as arrests were made in both Prince George and Langley. Prince George RCMP say this clearly shows that local drug activity is being supported by the Lower Mainland. These charges follow several other large announcements, such as the biggest drug bust in Prince George history that took place just a few weeks ago. And RCMP are optimistic that the continued effort against illegal drugs is making the community safer.
It has been something that our street crew unit and many of our other support units within the detachment have been focused on over the last couple of years. As we've seen more illicit drugs being brought into Prince George, we have definitely made sure that's one of our focuses for our enforcement actions. What we're hoping is we'll send out a kind of a warning to those that are involved in drug trafficking into Prince George, that we take it very seriously here, and there are definitely some hard consequences for those who are trying to import illicit drugs into Prince George.
To civic news we go now. City Council convenes tonight. Adam Burrows will be there, and he is joining us now to discuss what's on the agenda. So, Adam, first off, let's start here. It's the first meeting of September. Obviously, time have kind of changed, but what's going on tonight of note in Council?
Yeah, so September's back, fall is on the horizon,
right.
So lots councillors and city staff are off from their summer holidays. So more is happening on City Council, but not nearly as much as what happened 2 weeks ago on the August 19th meeting, pardon me, there was lots jam-packed into the last meeting. And this week, not too much big items per se. There's a couple of big ones talking about the spirit table reinvigoration, but there's a lot of housekeeping things. So a lot of bylaws getting their second, third readings, also final readings. So really a lot of housekeeping items today. I don't expect the meeting to go too long, but I always keep my fingers crossed because our council does like to have lots of discussion when it comes to items on the agenda.
And why don't you talk a little bit more about the spirit table for those who aren't aware? What's going to be the discussion tonight? Right.
So this item on the agenda is probably the most important one out of all of them. Not to name one particular that's of huge importance, but the spirit table is talking about, this is getting funding from the provincial government to help fund the spirit table. The spirit table was organized back in the early days of the pandemic and was started in 2021, I believe. And this essentially, the objectives of this spirit table organization are to help those who are at acute risk or at an elevated risk in the community and to help improve community safety. So this is an important organization, but it hasn't been able to function to its ability because of, among other things, lack of funding, and also because it did get started in the midst of the pandemic. So it was really it had difficulties getting off the ground.
Kind of got lost in the shuffle.
It got lost in the shuffle of a lot of other things. The pandemic, as we remember, it was a lot of time, a lot of chaos for a lot of people and organizations, and this one kind of fell through the cracks, so to speak, when it comes to getting that appropriate level of funding to help those in the community that are at an elevated risk and to help improve community safety as well. So this is finally coming back to council, and so they are going to among other things, probably draft a letter of support to the Ministry of Public Safety and the Solicitor General to help get some funding back to this organization and get it go running at the levels that it should be.
Now, one other thing I noticed on the agenda, there's going to be discussions about the budget consultation meetings. How important are these meetings? I know they can be a little bit dry, but they are very important.
Right, yeah, budget season is around the corner. And this is talking about budget 2025, so not the 2024 budget, but the 2025 budget. A consultation is huge. You need, the city staff and council needs to hear input from the public on what they want to see their tax dollars spent on. So when it comes to planning the budget, figuring out what's going to be cut, what's going to be improved, a lot of it is based off of community feedback and community information. So if nobody participates, it doesn't help council on where they can go for the budget. So very important that people get involved.
All right, Adam Bruce, thank you very much for that. In other news, the Red Dress Society has been a massive supporter in helping many Indigenous communities and their members grieve through unspeakable pain. And they held one of their biggest events of the year on Sunday. Jaden DeMello attended and brings us this story.
Once a year, we have the Prince George Red Dress campaign to where we come together as a community to bring awareness to the issue of murdered and missing, not only Indigenous women and girls, but all women and girls.
Since 2016, the Red Dress campaign has served as a support system to the many loved ones affected by these terrible tragedies.
A lot of the families do come out and tell their stories, and somebody's listening. There's always somebody to listen to what they have to say, and that's part of healing.
Everybody's journey is very different, and by holding safe space for one another is when you allow one another to heal.
Unfortunately, these injustices are nothing new to northern BC, with Highway 16 from Prince George to Prince Rupert being named the Highway of Tears for the numerous murders and disappearances of Indigenous women since 1969.
I've been an advocate for 30 years, since my sister Ramona went missing, and she was found 10 months later. So we didn't realize the impact or how vast it was for all the missing and murdered. But as we did the advocacy, we recognized that there wasn't only us, there were so many other families that were feeling the same way and that were alone and didn't have that support.
To help prevent stories like Brenda's, Manitoba has launched a pilot project for a red dress alert that's very similar to an Amber Alert, and she hopes Prince George can be the next community selected to implement it. Along with the red dresses, this year's campaign has added ties as well.
We have a tree with ties for representation for also men and boys, right? Because every single life matters. And this is not just an issue that affects women and girls, men and boys. All life matters.
These tragedies don't come with any warning and can change the lives of many at any moment.
In honor of our loved ones, I want to put it out there and challenge many of our families to really do something beautiful for our families that are here today, because we don't know when, right? And we want to ensure that we are doing the best that we can and that we are taking care and loving the ones that are here on earth right now.
Jaden DeMello, CKPG News.
A familiar face for many will be joining the Board of Governors at UNBC this fall, Jim Martin. Martin was the administrator for the Regional District of Fraser-Fort George for a number of years. He retired from that position in the fall of 2023. And it was shortly after that he received a call from the chair of the Board of Governors at UNBC and was offered a seat at the table. He will formally join the board next month, and he feels he has plenty to offer the school.
I've sat on a number of different boards, a number of different initiatives in Prince George and Northern BC. And being a civil servant, it's about, giving back to the community. The community's given so much to me. It felt like a natural transition and something to take up a little bit of that free time I have now. But I'm looking forward to it. I think with my background, both in governance and assisting boards in their policy development and sitting on numerous boards, and then watching UNBC and what it's done to contribute to Northern BC and its sustainability, that I'm pretty excited to be able to be involved in the discussions with the board.
The United Way organization all across the province is kicking off its fall fundraising season this week. The United Way BC represents the 5 regions, Central and Northern Vancouver Island, the Lower Mainland, the Southern Interior, Thompson, Nicola, Caribou, and Northern BC. It serves a population of more than 4.5 million people, with a focus on urgent response, children and youth, seniors, poverty, mental health, and food security. And the campaign to raise funds kicks off locally with a breakfast on Thursday.
It gives us a chance to explain, Better at Homes programs, 211, a lot of youth programs, food insecurity and what we're doing about it. So we get to do awareness, they get team activities. We have over 1,500 workplaces, we have over 500 companies. Every single one of their campaigns is different. So it's really partnering with the community, the companies who want to be seen and do good and meet them at their location and what best serves them.
The 7th annual Miracle on 3rd will take place in December, and Pattison Media announced it will be partnering with the Association Advocating for Women and Community, also known as AWAC. Tommy Osborne has more on the event and the organization it's supporting.
I would have been dead by now if I would have stayed in my addiction.
That's one of many stories from people who have gone through programs organized by the Association Advocating for Women and Community, also known as AWAC, who say the programs are literally life-saving.
I can't say enough of how remarkable what they did for me. Without their support, I wouldn't have made it, I don't think.
I was out here on the streets and everything like that, and and I just seen too many people dying and stuff, and I didn't want to be there no more. So, yeah, I jumped on ship, and it's the best thing to happen, right?
To support AWAC's work, Pattison Media announced its 7th annual Miracle on 3rd event will be raising funds and donations on AWAC's behalf.
AWAC did stand heads above as an organization that came with certainly a need, a very important need, but more importantly an enthusiasm, just an unbridled enthusiasm to make this event successful.
This year's Miracle on 3rd will take place on December 6th outside the Pattison Media Building on 3rd Avenue. Among other goals, AWAC hopes to use the funds to buy a new bus for easy inclined transport and expand its services.
We would love to grow our recovery community. We are maxed out in our residents there, and it would be great if we could, have eventually a bigger sober living recovery community.
Beyond financial donations, Hislop adds any items to protect against the winter cold would be great, like socks, long johns, toques, gloves, and more.
Anything that would bring you comfort would bring comfort to our clients too.
Since launching in 2018, Miracle on 3rd has raised more than $75,000 in donations, and Gemmell hopes that this is the year it surpasses $100,000. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
The lowest gas price in Prince George is sitting at $1.57.9 per litre at Costco. The lowest price in the province right now is in Abbotsford at $1.48.9 per litre. Manitoba has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.34.2 per litre, while BC has an average price of $1.69.3 per litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. For a very limited time, PG Domino's is offering 50% off all pizzas when you order online.
The UNBC Timberwolves men's soccer team was back at Massage Place Stadium for another weekend doubleheader, this time against the UBC Okanagan Heat. Jaden DeMello caught up with the squad following another set of hard-fought matches.
The Timberwolves headed into their third weekend of the Canada West season, grabbing a point in just one of their first 4 matches. In Game 1 against the UBCO Heat, Massage Place Stadium had their biggest crowd of the season, and the home side kept it close thanks to goalkeeper Logan Pierce and UNBC's defense led by Koss Neisted, but would fall 1-0.
That's great. Just hearing everyone cheer and stuff. It's unfortunate result, but we hope to see some more fans again this year.
The fans were out for the Timberwolves tailgate cheering on UNBC, who entered the weekend as one of just 4 teams in Canada West that were set to play their 5th and 6th games of the season already.
It's tough, 11 players, right? We're running out of legs, but these schedules are hard on us, but it's really about motivating each other, holding each other accountable too, right? We want to play our best, and that's up to everyone around us that's pushing us through.
In Game 2, the group came together and managed to grab their second point of the season in a 1-1 draw, with the goal coming from rookie Luke Graham.
This has been a dream of mine to play on a U Sports team for years and years. So to be able to play and then actually score the first home goal of the season is amazing, right? The
goal was also Graham's first ever Canada West tally that helped the T-Wolves come back from a 1-goal deficit after facing the same situation in Game 1.
It's all mentality, right? The same thing at half. We knew that they were going to come out strong, and we knew we had to come out stronger. Definitely tough going down early in the second half, but we really worked and we really got back and was able to get one in, which is nice.
After being outshot 6-1 by the Heat in the second half of Friday's match, the Timberwolves bounced back and outshot UBCO 9-8 to finish off the last 45 of the weekend. The team's reigning Rookie of the Year knows that his team needs to work as a unit to see results.
It's just all about motivating each other, coming out as a team, right? It's not one person. I think we started a little slow this year, but building blocks. And, I think everyone wanted to be able to do that a bit earlier in the year, but it's great to see that we came back today and we fought back.
The T-Wolves are set to wrap up their 6-game homestand next weekend against the Calgary Dinos. Jaden DeMello, CKPG News.
Also on the pitch this past weekend was the T-Wolves women's team, who opened their season on the road facing 2 very tough opponents. It all got going on Friday night in Calgary against the Mount Royal Cougars, where UNBC got blanked, falling 4-0 to open the season. Then on Sunday in Victoria, the T-Wolves suffered a 4-1 loss to the UVic Vikes. UNBC did get their offense going, courtesy of veteran Claire Turner, who converted off a rebound 12 minutes into the match to get the first goal of the season. The T-Wolves now return home for a pair of home games this coming weekend against TRU Friday at 5 p.m. and UBCO Sunday at noon. The TSX is up 246 points to close at 23,027. The Dow Jones is up 484 points to close at 40,830. And CN Rail went up $2.52 to close at $158.98.
Good evening again, everyone. We're looking at a pretty nice forecast for the week ahead. Today wasn't too bad out there. We do have dry weather upon us, so a mix of sun and cloud, and some days it'll be mainly sunny, but overall not a lot in terms of moisture, although temperatures will be a little bit cooler, especially through the overnight lows the next little while. So our satellite map not showing a whole lot from earlier today, but this is the system here that is actually going to hit the coast and bring with it some showers, which you'll see here on the Futurecast. So the next little while doesn't look too too bad in our region. We're really under that nice sunshine for the most part, maybe more of a mix of sun and cloud our Tuesday. But that was the system there and doesn't really impact us, as it does really make its way more south, or sort of swoop to the south. So we aren't looking at much in the way of precipitation coming our way, coming to our region from that. 17 Fort St. John tomorrow, a little cooler. For us in Prince George, I am not sure we'll reach 19. It could be a little cooler than that. 24 degrees though, a mix of sun and clouds south of us in Kamloops and Kelowna, a little bit more cloud cover. So overall temperatures aren't too bad, and we will have the sunshine, of course, to make it even more pleasant. 19 Fort St. James, 18 Mackenzie, 21 McBride, lots of sunshine in the forecast for the most part. Burns Lake, maybe a little bit more cloud cover for your day tomorrow. The west coast looks pretty nice, 20 degrees, comfortable temperatures in Vancouver, Edmonton as well, sitting around that. And then a drop by about 10 degrees in Regina. It was a very hot one there today. Tomorrow, not quite as hot, so returning to a little bit more of a normal pattern throughout the prairies. Winnipeg, still hanging on to some warmer weather. 29 degrees is pretty warm. 20 degrees Montreal, Toronto just above that. So the eastern half, some showers in parts today, especially along the Maritimes. Tomorrow will be a little bit drier. So late week, as we jump ahead a few extra days, will bring us the sunshine. That's where we're sitting in our region. So pretty nice temperatures overall as well by the middle of the week. Burns Lake, though, cold tonight. -1 is where you'll see the temperature get to. So below freezing overnight. 19 tomorrow, not bad. A little warmer than it was today. Mainly cloudy, though, but you do have the sunshine returning for Wednesday, Thursday. So the middle and the end of the week actually look pretty nice. +3 Mackenzie tonight. Again, a little chilly through the overnight lows everywhere, really, tonight especially. It gets a little milder for tomorrow, but Tuesday will look mostly cloudy, a few sunny breaks in there. 18 degrees, though, so a nice temperature. McBride, a cold tonight at -1, an increase in clouds. Clouds will start your day, or will be there as the day starts, and then burn off by the afternoon with the temperature of around 21 degrees for really Tuesday, Wednesday, and going into Thursday as well. Quesnel will be chilly tonight, +3, 21 tomorrow with sunshine. Gets a bit milder than that on Wednesday, Thursday, and that's a similar pattern for us, although we're quite chilly tonight, down to +1. 19 degrees tomorrow is where we could get to. It may feel a little bit cooler than that, though. Maybe around 16, 17 degrees is more likely, but back up there to a really nice temperature range again on Wednesday, Thursday, and pretty much the whole week looks pretty nice out there, actually. A mix of sun and cloud for the most part. And then we're watching a system for later into the weekend, which is a bit far out to predict just yet. Could bring us some showers and cooler temperatures as well.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. For a very limited time, PG Domino's is offering 50% off all pizzas when you order online.
The Prince George Kodiaks were in action this weekend, hitting the road on Saturday to take on the Valley Huskers. Prince George put up a fight in this one. Quarterback Sawyer Thiessen was solid with almost 300 yards and a touchdown. But the defense, despite doing a good job against the passing game, could not stop the run. Huskers running back Jawad Harb was the story in this one, torching the Kodiaks for 189 yards and 3 touchdowns. Prince George ends up falling 31-11 the final. They are now 1-6 on the season. Brazil is known for their footballing talents like Pelé, Ronaldinho, Neymar, and many others. But with the new NFL season underway, tonight's CKP3 with Jaden DeMello showcases a different kind of football in Sao Paulo. Have a look.
Saquon Barkley made his Eagles debut in front of nearly 50,000 Brazilian fans and definitely did not disappoint.
Looking the other way, lofts it, Barkley, end zone, makes the grab, touchdown! So he has converted 3 of its last 4 on 3rd down. And it, Barkley, touchdown!
The former Giants star punched in 3 TDs for one heck of a season opener, and with the NFL trying to grow the game worldwide, the Packers QB did his best to make Brazil fall in love.
Motion on 3rd and 10. Love steps up on the run, wide open, Jaden Reed, make a man miss, Reed, goodbye, touchdown, Packers, 70 yards.
Aaron Rodgers' replacement found Jaden Reed for a 70-yard touchdown, the longest in Jordan Love's young career. But not to be outdone was fellow 2020 draft pick Jalen Hurts, with a chance for the Eagles to fly into the league.
Hurts with time, lofts it over the top, Brown's got it, there goes A.J. Brown, blinding speed. Brown, touchdown, 67 yards.
Phillies' Hurts and Brown connection found the end zone en route to a win in the NFL's first ever game in Brazil to wrap up tonight's CKP3.
Hello from the CKPG Today side. Got a good one coming up over here. If you're in the market for a bathtub, this is the show that you're going to want to watch. And it is that time of year. It's fall, of course, so you might want to go for a nice soak, a warm soak. Maybe you got a girlfriend like me that loves bath bombs. Well, you need a good bathtub for this, of course. So we're going to do a little bathtub shopping at MCO in Prince George on this month's edition of Home Improvement. And yeah, I mean, I got to ask you on the other side on that note. You seem like a bath bomb kind of guy, and I'm gonna guess it's the pink ones, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Love those bath bombs. Every day at 8 p.m. It's part of my daily routine there, Caden. No. But to finish up our show, the North Caribou BC SPCA has a catastrophic situation taking place in their shelters. They even have 7 stray kitties with no home to go to. Sam Bennison has more on this week's Forever Friends.
The North Caribou BC SPCA has a litter of 7 kittens available for adoption, with each one cuter than the last.
They were found through animal control and they came in with their mom. Since they were underage, we did find a place in foster for them to get the proper care and to be away from the shelter from anything that may come in.
If you find a stray cat around town, McCohen has some words of advice.
When you see a stray cat, definitely keep a lookout for any people around. Take a look to see if there's a collar. If you are able to get a hold of the cat, take a look in the ear for any tattoos or any ID on them. A lot of the time there are animals just right outside their house, right in their driveway.
And if it's a young kitten, the SPCA recommends calling animal control, as the mother is most likely nearby.
Moms will still go hunting out for any mice or any food and come back to the kittens. So sometimes we'll even have moms brought in without their kittens. So sometimes it is best just to leave them where they are and to call animal control so we can take a proper look.
As for these kittens specifically, they're ready to adopt either online or in person at the North Caribou BC SPCA.
These guys, they are so cuddly. All they want is attention. They just want to be held. They are going to be up for adoption here soon. They're all so spunky. They love to play. And they love each other. They're always cuddling with each other. They love their food and they love their toys.
Sam Bennison, CKPG News.
That finishes things off for tonight, folks. Thanks for joining us as always. Caden Fanshaw up next with the Today Show. Tommy Osborne at 6:30, and I have a bath bomb scheduled right at 8. Lucky me.